I'm gonna give you the hardest rep scheme that you've never done, and we're gonna start right now. So in 2018, I wanted to run a crazy experiment, and the subject that I ended up using was Sam Mattis. And at the time, we were looking for a big spark in his training. We wanted to go into the indoor track season and have him in really good shape, have him in really good form so that he could perform really, really well during that coming season. So I like doing these tests on the throwers in the fall because if the experiments don't work out really well, we'll still have time to recover. We'll still have time to bring in another stimulus for them to actually adapt to properly, and then we can lead into that outdoor season really, really well. But in this case with Sam, we had the US Indoor National Championships in December. So I knew that I wanted him to get a little bit bigger. We needed him to gain a little bit of weight. And then the second big factor is that we needed him to get a little bit stronger with his back squat. We wanted to push that back squat as high as we possibly could. So we laid out this time frame, and with this specific rep scheme, I laid everything out. How could we get him stronger? How could we get him bigger? If we can identify the results that we're looking for, now that's what the experiment is geared towards. It's not a perfect scientific method-based experiment. It's more of a hands-on experiment, okay? So then we laid that out. We created a 7-day layoff, and then that's what we used as we went into the US Indoor Discus National Championship. So what was the result? Sam went into the championship in absolutely phenomenal shape and was just dropping huge bombs. He gained almost 10 pounds in body weight. His squat blew up, and he hit an indoor PR and actually ended up winning that championship competition and had an absolutely phenomenal throw. So the result was great.
There you go. Let's go.
There you go.
63-60.
There you go.
Oh yeah, baby!
Woo! 63-60 indoors. Oh!
But we learned a couple things on the back end. It does take a little bit of time to recover. And that's some big things that we need to remember as we work forward with this sweet rep scheme. This rep scheme is not for the faint of heart. Remember, the main goal is that we've got to adapt to that stimulus so that we can build some serious muscle. Just like I'm trying to do right now while I'm military pressing during a YouTube video. Now, let's review some key concepts behind resistance-based training as I still recover from that last set of military press. We want to build as much muscle as possible that's practical for the specific sport that we're training towards. So to do that, we have to do 3 key factors. We have to trigger hypertrophy through 3 types of different loading schemes, okay? So we wanna look at something like mechanical tension. We can adapt to mechanical tension. We can adapt to metabolic stress. That also leads to a specific type of hypertrophy. Or we can also adapt to stress or actual muscular breakdown and heal that area, which then leads to larger muscle, more hypertrophy. So we need to stimulate a large amount of muscle fibers to get that adaptation that we want, because then that can be applied specifically to our program. So if we have a large amount of stress and we get comfortable with a large amount of stress, then we're recruiting high threshold motor units, and the more that we can recruit high threshold motor units, the more power output we will have in whatever sport we're working towards, or even inside of the weight room. And this finishes the hypertrophy feedback loop. So in comes the cluster set, and the cluster set is going to look something like this. We're gonna pick a weight and any max strength exercise. So let's say bench press, back squat, deadlift. We're gonna pick a weight that's gonna be around 80 to 85% of our max. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do, say, 6 to 8 reps. We're gonna do 6 to 8 singles at that specific weight. So 80 to 85% of our max. You're gonna hit a single and you're gonna rest 30 seconds exactly. After that 30 seconds, get under the bar, hit it again. And you're gonna do that for those 6 to 8 sets. 30 seconds rest. Don't forget that. You're doing this every 30 seconds. Now, I don't believe this is the absolute best form of cluster sets, but it's a great introduction to how cluster sets work. And this is why it can stimulate such a large amount of an adaptation. It's really hard to get a lot of volume work at such a high intensity, let's say 85%. But when we're taking that 30 seconds break, that does help us get that volume work in. It also helps you recruit a lot of high threshold motor units. So if I'm hitting 85% for a single, and then I rest 25, 30 seconds, hit that again, my nervous system knows that I'm under a lot of stress. Now I'm gonna start to recruit a lot of high threshold motor units. Okay, so part of this comes back to understanding physiology, understanding two big factors here: muscle spindles and GTOs, Golgi tendon organs, okay? So these are sensors that our body has, they're governors. They basically tell the body, tell the individual, tell the brain to shut off if something is too high or too severe, and it could put the body in position to actually have some type of injury. What we've seen when we're assessing elite level athletes is that elite level athletes have GTOs, they have these governors that come in, they kick in way later, okay? They can handle a lot more load, a lot more stress. Someone who's not as athletic, their nervous system shuts down very quickly. They tend to get put into these precarious positions. They lean forward hard. You know, they don't feel as coordinated. Their GTOs, their muscle spindles, kick in really early to prevent them from hitting these big weights on a regular basis. So that's why if we can use a cluster set, we can convince someone who has a dead nervous system or who isn't as coordinated to learn how to recruit more high threshold motor units on a regular basis, and in turn, they can become more coordinated over a longer period of time. So what do I think is the absolute best cluster set protocol that you can use today when you go to the gym? So in comes the maddest cluster set, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I would use this on my deadlift, but I'm also gonna give you Sam's numbers at the exact same time. So with Sam, his best back squat was around 280 kilos. So we established that at 83%, he would be using 240 kilos. Now in my case, when we demonstrate here so that you can see how it's done, I'm gonna use 225 kilos. That's gonna be 83% of my current 1 rep max, which is down about 100 pounds. Don't knock me too much, but if I looked at it around 605, 615, that's gonna give me about 500 pounds, so maybe 230 kilos, somewhere in that range. So now we're gonna take that 83% and then we're gonna execute a specific cluster, which will provide you. It's gonna be 2 sets of clusters. Okay, so the way we start off, we wanna do 5 doubles. Okay, so we're doing 5 doubles at 83%. So in Sam's case, 240 kilos for a double. Okay, he would hit a double back squat, rack the bar. So in this case, for me, we're gonna do 230 kilos. Now, timer starts, 30 seconds. Don't twiddle your thumbs, don't wait too long. That 30 seconds has to be timed perfectly. Okay, so you're gonna do this over the span of 5 sets. I'm already closing in on that 30 seconds, I believe. Now we sit, we wait another 30 seconds, and then we're gonna get into that again. So you can get 10 reps done in less than 3 minutes. That's where we're gonna get a big adaptation. That's where you get a big spark in that strength and that volume. So now we're gonna rest 5 to 6 minutes. So we start off, let's rehash the beginning. 5 sets of 2 reps at 83%, okay? And we're gonna do that with 30 seconds rest. So you hit a double, rest 30 seconds, hit a double, rest 30 seconds. You do that over those 5 sets. Then you're gonna rest 5 to 6 minutes. Then you're on the back end. Now the back end, you're gonna do 5 singles and you're gonna start at 83%. This is when we could start to see how Sam was really adapting. How was he feeling? Because what would end up happening is around the 3rd set, Sam would start to just blow up and you'd see really, really good speed on the bar. Or you'd see he'd start to grind, start to fatigue, start to lose position. So on the back end, you can do a single, rest 30 seconds. Do another single, rest 30 seconds. And you should start to wake up. Your nervous system's gonna start to fire tremendously because you're doing 1 less rep and it's a little bit easier mentally. So then you can start to add 2.5 kilos on each side. Next set, another 5 on each side. Then the next set, another 2.5 kilos. So you can build up if you're feeling really good. If you're not feeling really good, keep holding that position and just take that all the way through until you finish those 5 single clusters on the back end. So we use this 5 doubles on the front end, rest 5 minutes, 5 singles on the back end. Remember, we're resting 30 seconds between each set. And this bumped Sam's back squat max to just shy of 300 kilos, about 5 kilos shy of 300 kilos. And not only did that add that weight that we talked about, he got a little bit heavier. We rested for about 5 to 7 days from all of this training. And then in the circle, that transferred to this huge, phenomenal indoor throw, which is one of the best indoor discus throws in the history of the United States. It's important that we do leg accessory work for the rest of the workout and keep it easy. It doesn't need to be absurdly hard. Something like an easy goblet squat or Spanish squat. 3 days later, we would also hit our athlete day. We want to continue to desensitize our spindles and our GTOs and to help our body learn how to coordinate as rapidly as possible on a consistent basis. 1, through using max strength exercises, and 2, by using plyometrics to learn how to absorb energy and how to reuse energy on a consistent basis. This played a massive role in the overall success of Sam's program, and it also helped with recovery into the next day of cluster set training. And you can try this out today with your normal person player, your NPP. Comment down below if you don't know what an NPP is. Remember, the goal is to stimulate adaptation, and Sam saw tremendous results from this experiment, right? So we know in the future that if someone or an athlete is in a very similar situation with their training and with their goals and what they need to adapt to, we can use cluster sets to help promote size and strength and even increase volume. Okay, so that's one of those major factors. But we have to remember that cluster sets are just a tool. It's a tool in our toolbox so we can pull that out. Just like waves, just like 1-6 method, all of these rep schemes are specific tools that lead to specific forms of adaptation within specific exercises. And if we can identify an exercise that someone might be weak in to get an adaptation from, we can then use that tool, like the Mattis cluster set, to help boost a major response. And if you want a tool to help with your overall training and to get a little bit of a response so you can start smashing bigger PRs and hold yourself accountable, check out our brand new app, Peak Strength. So head over to peakstrength.app and you can pick up our brand new app for a 7-day free trial. It's gonna hold you more accountable. It's gonna provide those specific rep schemes. It's gonna provide the specific weight and rest periods to help you improve your overall training. There's 35 different sport programs that will provide you with a personalized program. And if you want more knowledge to improve your overall understanding of sports performance, make sure you check out our podcast, the Masters of Sport podcast. Because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you always got to cultivate your power. Peace.